making sure that you got the right energy about each element of form by speaking out loud each phrase.
Okay. Joy state. Once upon a time, nothing is happening. Movement begins. More intense. Something is about to happen. This is it. This happening right now. And the moral of the story.
This is very good, but we do need to improve the contrast. For example, the contrast between introduction and beginning. So, introduction, as I describe it as still energy, calm air. So, once upon a time. It's very, like you about, it's not subjective. It's literally very objective and detached. Once upon a time.
Yeah, you're saying this like a sentence, but once upon a time, and it's an introductory, like once upon a time there lived a prince, for example. Yeah.
Yes.
So time in your way, you like your intonation goes down. Once upon a time. In my variant, once upon a time, it's like a question mark.
Right. So I think every time there is written still energy, you have to go down. When there is motion, you have to go forward, a bit maybe up. When there is deeper motion, you go again deeper, but then again forward and up. Exhaled energy, you go down, and still energy, again, you go down. So,
all right.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time.
Okay. Now, still energy, light, air. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening.
Nothing is happening.
So when you were saying it in the beginning, something was happening when you were saying that. So I needed lighter and really with zero energy.
Nothing is happening.
Nothing is happening. Yes. And just really imagine, when I was doing this, calm air, light air, gentle breath, fresh breeze, strong breeze, storm, calm air. I also felt that this sensation that we perceive with our skin, the wind, might really trigger the right energy. So try to imagine that still energy and light air. Nothing is happening.
Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening.
Okay. Now development, motion energy, and gentle breeze.
Movement begins.
That was
Movement
good.
begins.
That was actually one of the good ones that you did. So, once upon a time, nothing is happening. Movement begins.
Interestingly, you stress the word begins. I stress the word movement, like movement begins.
Yeah, but it's because, remember, we want to movement begins, finish it up. So that's why the stress is on the second word as well. Maybe.
Movement begins.
Yeah, movement begins.
Movement begins.
Okay. Now,
More intense.
intensification, yeah, deeper motion energy and fresh breeze. So, more intense.
More intense.
Very good. Let's again start from the beginning.
Nothing is happening.
Introduction.
Once upon a time. Nothing is happening. Movement begins. More intense.
Very good. Rising. Something is about to happen. The same deep emotion energy, but with a strong breeze. So the difference between more intense and something is about to happen is that in something is about to happen, I feel there is more that fast energy, kind of fiery energy. Where more intense, you're more going deeper. But with rising, you go deeper, but also, kind of up to lead to something. And it has a bit more motion, I think.
Something is about to happen.
So if we are actually enjoy, we would say something is about to happen.
Something is about to happen.
Good. Now the climax part, the only one who struggle with that. In fact, oh my god, actually from my experience now I see that I haven't met a student who wouldn't struggle with beginning and climax. Beginning was always too much and climax was not the right energy. So let me explain. So climax I've written exhaled energy, storm. So the difference between intensified rising and climax is that intensified rising, in a wrong meaning of, no, in a not accurate meaning of climax, is you just want to bring even more, Where with climax, actually, it's a completely different energy from rising. Climax is a storm above your head, and it's actually rather exhale than more of rising. Okay, so exactly. So in this case, you would go something, enjoy, for example. Something is about to happen. This is it. It's happening right now. So it's more a release, but also very strong release. It's not a slow release.
I think it's good to practice climax with rising. So doing rising and then release.
I agree.
Something is about to happen. This is it. It's happening right now.
Okay, good. One more time.
Something is about to happen. This is it. This happening right now.
Exactly. You see? This is the difference. Incorrect way would be to say, something is about to happen. This is it. It's happening right now. A bit hysterical. So it's opposite. And also, like I said before, we mentioned in the previous lesson, the benefits of graduating correctly energy within the piece, we can also experience the benefits in a technical way. So with that exhale in your energy when you reach climax part, actually that releases the tension in your muscles that you were building up before, maybe in intensification or rising to climax part. So this is very important, this difference. All right, and the conclusion is a little bit like the actual introduction. And the moral of the story. Again, you're coming back to the same description. Still energy, calm air. And it's more objective rather than subjective.
And the moral of the story.
Yeah. And the moral of the story. So let's try again now that with these little corrections to go through the whole routine, naming all the elements.
Once upon a time, nothing is happening. Movement begins. More intense. Something is about to happen. This is it. It's happening right now. And the moral of the story.
This is very good. And so let's just repeat this routine a few more times till it gets more fluid and natural. So now let's copy and paste the same and use it with the musical image of sorrow.
Once upon a time, nothing is happening. Movement begins. More intense. Something is about to happen. This is it. It's happening right now. And the moral of the story.
Yes, very good. I think if I repeat it would sound the same way. Let me try. Once upon a time, nothing is happening. Movement begins. More intense. Something is about to happen. This is it. It's happening right now. And the moral of the story.
You almost had like I don't know the word on the climax. It was a tragedy in your voice. You had this.
So obviously it will all depends on which harmony we will encounter in the piece, which tempo is in the piece, which dynamics. It will all bring different nuance to sorrow. It could be just slight sadness or dramatic or tragic, but it doesn't matter. So when you're gonna speak it, just focus on whatever sorrow comes to your mind in the moment. Very good. So now we're going to use the same energy and we're going to make sure that when we sing, this energy will be expressed through the portal between the notes in our intonation, through resistance and glissando when we sing. And I suggest to, so there's a lot of work now, like for me, in musical image.
Yes.
But it's necessary at least to go through it once, really. Just.
Yes, it's a really big amount of work. But I will do.
But maybe that's why I was also making the video, so you could sing right after me and you don't have to think what's next. All you need to do is just repeat in the video after me, which is also nice because, you know, with your ears you actually have an example to follow. So you might find this video useful to practice with. But I think the first time you sing, you can sing very slowly, just focusing on how you express that energy between the notes. And then when you think that you can add a little bit of more of contrast, focusing a little bit more on phrasing, and singing more
With movement.
With more contrast, so start more far away, and then not here, right here, right here.
Mm-hmm.
You can add it. But I think it would have been tricky to just start maybe right away combining musical image and form with the phrasing, because in the mind there could be a contradiction between, wait a second, is the introduction, you said it's still energy and calm air, how can I add movement or phrasing to it? So it's probably good to first develop that solid ground of feeling, how you feel the texture and energy of introduction, and then you can go to a little bit higher dimension when you actually add a nuance of movement which reflects the phrasing.
I may try motifs with more phrase movement if we have
If you
time.
feel confident with that,
I think yes, I
let's try.
sing it. Like starting off the story, the introduction even. Yeah.
Yes. And if you're not sure if everything is expressed that you want to express, then in those moments you can simply play this a little bit, like it's a game, like deconstruct what you do, and maybe try to sing just with phrasing, or with phrasing and musical image only, and see that if there is a difference between this and singing with phrasing, musical image, and form.
It's very interesting to find differences.
Let me try
It's
right
like-
now. Wait. Let me try right now.
How are you gonna
So
sing?
let's say, for example, I'm gonna start just with motif. No musical image, no musical form. Now I'm gonna sing phrasing, motif, and joy. Now add form, introduction. What's the difference between all three? But I think the way to check it is not really through the sound, because it's hard to hear yourself when you sing. It's more inside. Do you feel that your energy has changed when you were singing?
Yes, it's like feeling of soul. Your soul feels it.
That's one step, and second step is, did you feel that it was expressed through the resistance and those vibrations between the notes in your intonation? So it's not just, going to a state and then and just like sing the notes. Did you feel that you were expressing it not through the notes but through the interval. Yeah, I think that's a fun way just to check the difference. Do you want to try right now? Let's do it now. Let's do it now with you.
Can you hear my singing? Or
I do hear you singing very well.
Okay. Motifs. Motif without anything, only phrasing. Now I'm adding the joy. And introduction. Yes, really, this feels like when I add the joy, when I add emotion, this is more like still continuous way. It's like I feel it within portal between the notes, but when I add the part of form, it means like, okay, this is introduction, so I sit back and enjoy. It's only the beginning, and I like feel more relaxed, and I feel inside like the fairy tale begins. It's introduction. So this really soul-like feeling, not the sound, but intrinsic feeling.
The idea is to play with musical image and form and phrasing, but without changing dynamics or tempo. And that's why we have separate exercises where you play in piano, separate exercises when you play forte. That's probably the most time-consuming, like, really topic in the whole book. My goodness.
Musical image, introduction, and everything in joy.
Now that we've got so many musical means of expression that we need to focus at the same time, it's very important where you put your focus on while playing and before playing. So before you start this exercise, you can quickly, briefly remind yourself the sound picture, what it's going to be, sound texture, piano, sound movement glissando. As you can see, we're excluding harmony here. We will squeeze it later in the musical image and form practice exercise. But here we're just really going with the simplest level. So it's just sound texture, dynamic sound movement. And after that, you actually tune into the main thing, which is first musical image. It is very important to never change it. First musical image, then musical form. So never even say once to yourself, oh, okay, musical form, oh, and then also there is a musical image. Okay, and which dynamics do I play? No, not this attitude. It will not help you to keep everything in focus in a very quick time. So try to practice, we call it order of focus, you know.
I understand.
Joy, maybe beginning,
Okay.
And then joy and then sorrow beginning.
Okay. Piano motifs, joy, beginning. Sorrow, beginning.
So before I even ask you if you felt any difference, I just want to point here. If you can notice how the movement of your hand were becoming a little bit more restricted and not that floppy anymore, as if, for example, it's just making three-dimensional movement with sound, texture, and dynamics. And you see what's happening, that energy starts guiding and directing and graduating all those initial 3D motion that it would suit for you to express what you feel. As soon as we start adding image and form and even phrasing and then later even timing and self-confidence and then true voice, eventually when you play, your hands will look like you don't even move them. But everything else will be inside. The movements will be just adjusted to what you want to express.
I wasn't aware of that.
And you will check.
But I'm glad that we had camera.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say that really, when it comes to imagining the part of the form, I feel like not the every intonation, but the general state of the narrative. Like I feel it with my soul, and I can I feel the meaning of the part.
Mm-hmm.
And this makes my playing confident. I feel more confidence when I feel this. Where am I?
Mm-hmm.
I am at the beginning. It helps me.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel some kind of maybe a physical difference when you were doing in your muscles when you were playing with joy and beginning and then sorrow beginning?
When I play with joy, it felt more like the sensation, I would say, the sensation of gold or something shiny.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And when I play with sorrow, my hand melts a little bit. The muscles melts and softens a bit.
Yes, when we play sorrow, it's like more relaxed. If
and a bit slower everything. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.